Well known, but a shortage of chefs is actually threatening our national dish. Charlotte Lomas reports.
It's up there with fish and chips when it comes to the nation's favourite dish, but the much-loved Indian curry is in crisis. Restaurants all over the country are complaining of a shortage of chefs, meaning 2 a week are closing their doors.
We're finding it very difficult now to fill the vacancies in the kitchen. We can get ample front of house staff, we can get pot washers, but to get tandoori chefs and chefs is very, very difficult. We have people training with us, but the learning process is so long that sometimes people come for 3 months, 4 months, and they just don't want to learn the full process. They think it's too much for them.
The Indian curry has become a mainstay in British cuisine, but it's in sharp decline, not because of a lack of demand, but the difficulty in getting skilled chefs into the kitchen. One reason for the chef shortfall is that second-generation Indians and Bangladeshis are shunning a career in the kitchen, often encouraged to do so by their family. Another is the UK's immigration policy, which some say is stopping restaurants recruiting experienced chefs from abroad. Award-winning restaurant owner Enam Ali is calling on the government to introduce short-term work visas to solve the problem.
The gap is huge. If you imagine 12,000 restaurants, if you've got a 2-chef shortfall, you've got a 24,000 chef shortage here. So how do we fill this? And you cannot. Even the French restaurants are suffering for shortage of their skill, but they are very lucky because every year they got a graduate walk in. I don't have that.
Ali's restaurant is one of thousands making up an industry worth around £3 billion. It's also one at risk of closure. Critics argue that the solution has nothing to do with immigration, but rather Indian restaurants need to welcome more women into their kitchens and attract chefs from different backgrounds. A view shared by the government, who say they want to nurture more homegrown talent. The question is whether that will be enough. Charlotte Lomas, Sky News.
Well, with us now is Pat Chapman, founder of the Curry Club and also the Good Curry Guide, and chef and senior vice president for the Bangladesh Caterers Association, Ali Khan, who's in our Westminster studio. Very good afternoon to both of you gentlemen. Pat Chapman, should we be offering short-term visas? Is the curry industry facing a crisis?
Well, what is this crisis? There's been a recession and the marketplace has shrunk down a bit. There's about 8,000 curry restaurants in the UK now. There are sources of skill that I think we could be looking at, or they should, Bangladesh should be looking at. For example, wives, women. Did you see when I was cook? No women. Why can't women be used to the kitchen? They're perfectly good, skilled cook people. They cook at home, perfectly good Indian food, and it's not a difficult skill to learn to cook for a restaurant. And then, of course, trainers and trainees from catering colleges are pouring out of catering colleges, and they're available. But I have to say that if you are not Bangladeshi, you're not particularly welcomed in the restaurant situation. And it's not a language barrier. You don't need language to cook rice or curries. That's a skill that's relatively easily learned, especially if you've been trained as a caterer.
Ali Khan, it's not an issue of visas here, it's actually an issue of a recession which has caused a shrinkage even in the marketplace. And also, if you wanted to fill any gap, then there are lots of women who could do it.
Well, actually women can do it, but the problem is how do you get them out? They are such a good cook. But as my concern, I have seen a lot of women actually working in the industry because of the staff shortage. But it's really will be difficult to get more women into the industry.
But is that culturally because they're not accepted or they don't want to do it?
Some they don't want to do it. Some actually is very in the religion. Some they doesn't want to come out and work with the mixed religions. It's in nature of like when they work in the kitchen, some curry house kitchens are really small, and when the men and women working together, they're like, it's quite difficult to work together unless they have a bigger kitchen and, work together.
And do you really believe that people have to be brought from abroad, from Bangladesh, from India to fill this shortage?
Yes, it is very important, and because this industry contributes 4.5 billion to the British economy, and this is outside EU from South Asia like Bangladesh, India or Pakistan.
Pat Chapman, it's an art form. People need to come from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, otherwise they won't be able to do the job properly.
Well, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I actually teach Asian cooking. I've done it for 30 years. If I can learn it, anybody can learn it. I'm a bloke, but there are plenty of very, very skilled females in the industry. There is Dipner, for example, at Southall's brilliant. There's Hansa in Leeds. These are women who cook and run restaurants, but it's a very small percentage. I'd like to see a much greater percentage of women doing it.
Ali Khan, why can't you just train people up here?
We have actually tried with the government from the Bangladesh Caterers Association to have a curry college here so that we can get some homegrown chefs. But the problem was we never get the funds. The government has never recognized us in terms of teaching the homegrown chefs. And it is important that a lot of the homegrown chefs, the young generation, the third and fourth generation, they doesn't want to come to this industry. Some region, because they got highly educated, they got better jobs in other places, they wanted to be lawyers, solicitors and stuff like this. So I think it can be done, but we need government to back it up.
Okay, Ali Khan and Pat Chapman, thanks very much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.